Good morning, colleagues, friends, yogis. This morning we are doing a find your core practice. So we'll be initiating the movement from our middle and taking that feeling of being centered throughout our day. So, hope you join me on the mat. Let's find a comfortable seat. All right, get comfortable on your mat. Maybe your legs are crossed like mine are here. And let's take our shoulders up by our ears. Shrug them up nice and high. And as they fall away, settle the eyes down, or maybe you even close them. Let's just take a few moments here to dial into our breath. And specifically, let's think of our breath as starting in the belly. So maybe you even take one hand to your low belly, and as you inhale, press that hand out. As you exhale, feel the low belly draw in just a bit. A couple more like this. So inhale, press the hand out with the belly. Exhale, slight drawing in, navel comes up and in just a bit. Inhale. And exhale. Now, as you inhale and press that hand out, still feel that slight tension in the low belly that you cultivate on your exhale. So we never quite lose that engagement, even as we're filling up with our inhale. Just a couple more breaths. Bottom line is the core and the abs are lightly engaged throughout our practice, even as we're moving. So it's not a crunching, it's not a constriction, just a light engagement to keep us nice and stable. Okay, if you had that hand on the belly, you can remove the hand back to the knee or wherever is comfortable. Let's inhale the shoulders up by the ears. Exhale, let them fall down. One more time, inhale up. Exhale, flutter the eyes open or lift the gaze if you haven't already. And then let's inhale the arms overhead. Look up to the thumbs and take a lean over to the right. So the right hand comes down, left arm reaches over. Keep pressing down into the mat with your left hip here. Maybe roll the top shoulder back. Return for a moment to that light engagement in the core and those deep, nice, even breaths. On your next inhale, reach just a little bit longer with the top hand. Exhale, sweep that top hand through center. We're just going to come on right through. We're not staying. And find the other side. So the left hand presses down outside the hip. Right hand reaches over. Roll the top shoulder back. Press in with the right hip, into the mat with the right hip. And if you lost the stability in your core, re-find it here. Gaze can go up to the ceiling. Relax the shoulders away from the ears. Very good. On your next inhale, reach just a little bit further. Exhale, sweep that right arm through center. And then just walk the fingertips back in towards the shins so you can sit up nice and tall. Hands come to the knees, and then sit up nice and tall. Crown of the head reaches towards the top of the room. Press the palms into the knees and lift the chest forward. Shoulders go back, gaze goes up. So a little arching of the back towards me, towards the front of the room. And then on an exhale, take that back and arch it towards the back of the room, tucking the chin to the chest. Little seated cat and cow here. So inhale to your cow pose. Bring the chest forward. Gaze goes up to the sky. Exhale, cat pose. Arch your back towards the back of the room, tucking the tailbone. Now let's come back to neutral. Hands come to the top ribs, and we're just going to do some circles here with our ribs. So we use our hands to really feel this movement. So on an inhale, take the ribs forward, just like you did in your cow pose, your seated cow pose, and then move those hands and those ribs over to the right. And then on your exhale, take it back for your cat pose, and then come around to the left. Inhale through center, and then exhale through your cat pose. 2 more in this direction. We're just moving very mindfully, feeling those ribs articulate, keeping that low belly engaged. Relax the shoulders. Mine have such a tendency to tense up. When you come through center in the front, then just sit up nice and tall, refined, that seated position. Then we're going to go in the other direction. So bring those ribs forward, find your cow pose, and then over to the left. Back through your cat. If it doesn't feel good to keep your hands here on your top ribs, you can put them back on the knees. This just helps for you to find that movement, to really articulate those ribs around in a circle. Exhaling back through your cat pose. One more time around. Come forward. To the side. And then once you're in that front position, stay there, refind your seat. Good job. Get out a couple little wiggles, and let's find a table pose. So in table pose, we've got our shoulders over our wrists and hips over our knees. We're going to do that cat-cow again, but from this kneeling position. So on an inhale, drop the belly, lift the chest and gaze, look up. Exhale, round through the spine, tucking the chin. Look towards that navel. Inhale, drop the belly, lift the chest and gaze. Exhale, round through the spine, press into those palms. One more time in each direction. Inhale, drop belly, shoulders away from ears. Exhale, round, really round here. Tighten that core. Come back to a neutral position. And now we're going to flow. We're going to add on to that just a little bit and go through a flow. So inhale, drop the belly, lift the chest and gaze, look up. Exhale, round through your cat pose and push back to child's pose, hips to heels. I'm not going to stay here. Tuck the toes, press into the hands, and lift the hips into a down dog. Knees are strongly bent here, so lay the torso on the thighs. Press into the hands, focus on getting those hips high, and engage the lower abdominals here. So we're not just hanging out. We have a light engagement of the abs. Hips are lifting, knees are bent. And then slowly and mindfully return to your table. All right, we're going to move through those positions, pretty much one breath, one movement. So inhale, cow. Exhale, round the spine for cat. Inhale, back to table. Exhale here. Inhale, tuck the toes, lift the hips, downward facing dog. And then exhale, back to table. Inhale, cow pose. Exhale, cat pose. Inhale, back to child's pose. And exhale here. Inhale, tuck the toes, lift the hips. Maybe the knees get a little bit straighter on this round. And then exhale, back down to table pose. Inhale, cow pose. Exhale, cat pose. Inhale, back to child's pose. Exhale here. Inhale, tuck the toes, lift the hips. Maybe those heels drop, legs straighten. And then come on back down. One more time. Table pose. Inhale, cow pose. Exhale, cat pose. Inhale, child's pose. Exhale, tuck toes, lift hips. hang out here in your down dog. Pedal out the feet. Just a little bit. Press in through the whole of the palm here. So every base of the knuckle is pressing in. And then settle into stillness here in your down dog. Now you can lift that tailbone to the sky as high as feels good, and then engage that low belly. Really lift the navel to the spine and find that engagement and that action here. Take a big inhale in and exhale out. Now on your next inhale, let's ripple forward to a plank pose. Look between your thumbs. Exhale, hips high, downward facing dog. Inhale, right leg lifts up to the sky as high as you can get it. Point those toes. Exhale, right leg down. Inhale, left leg high, reach those toes to the sky. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, ripple forward to plank. Exhale, hips high, down dog. Initiate each movement here from your core. Lift the right leg up, core engaged. Exhale, place it down. Lift the left leg up. Exhale, place it down. Inhale, come forward to plank. Abs are lifting, press into those hands. Exhale, use the abs to take you back to downward facing dog. Now this time we're going to inhale the right leg up. Now you can keep the leg lifted or place it back down, and we're going to roll forward to plank. Ha-ha. Push back, three-legged dog, and we all meet in down dog. Inhale, lift the left leg up. Roll forward to plank. Maybe that leg is lifted. Push back, three-legged dog. We meet in downward facing dog. Nice work. We're going to add on just a little bit. Inhale, lift that right leg up to the sky. And keeping those abs engaged, exhale, bend the knee into the nose. And maybe you even bend that nose towards the knee. Take a big inhale in here. Exhale. Inhale, keeping that knee bent, shift forward to your plank pose. And then push it back, three-legged dog. Place that right foot on down. Inhale, lift the left leg high. Exhale, knee to nose. Keeping the hips, keeping that down dog. Just crunch that knee in. Take an inhale and an exhale. Inhale, forward to your plank. Oh yes. Exhale, three-legged dog. Place that left foot down. Take the knees to the earth. Find a little child's pose here. Reaching those arms forward, forehead melts to the earth. Take a nice inhale. And a long exhale. All right, let's press back up to our down dog. We're going to add on. So get those hips nice and high. Start here, engaging that low belly. Inhale, reach the right leg up. Exhale, knee to nose. Inhale here. Exhale here. Inhale, shift forward. Step the right foot between the hands. Drop the back knee down and untuck the toes. Rise up, low lunge. Look up to those thumbs if it feels good for the neck. And now take your hands to your hips. One thing I noticed that I did this morning, it's such a habit, is I came to my low lunge and I just dumped forward. Let's all come up. And how do we do that? We squeeze the inner thighs together and engage that low belly. So slight tuck of the tailbone, engage the abs so you're not down here necessarily, you're up here. Feels a little bit more stable, right? Press in through that top of that back foot. Re-reach the hands to the sky. Now from this nice stable place, if you can dip the hips forward a little bit, that's okay, right? But we still have the abs engaged, inner thighs squeezing. We found that nice stable core. Now from here, tuck those back toes if they're not already. Press in through the ball of that back foot And rather than lifting up with the knee, we're going to press back with the heel, right? So we were down here. We didn't lift up. We pressed back with that heel. So we're nice and low in our high lunge. Take an inhale in, reach up. Exhale, open twist to the right. Bring those hands out to a T. Take a nice inhale. Exhale, reach the right hand down the back leg. Left arm reaches over the ear. Little stretch. Exhale, windmill the hands. Place them inside of the right foot. So both hands are to the right or to the left of the right foot. Maybe you have to heel toe that right foot out a little bit. You can drop the back knee down and untuck the toes. Lift the chest forward, finding your lizard pose. Now you can be up on your fingertips here. That's perfectly fine. If you have a block or books to further elevate those hands, that's wonderful too. Take a big breath in, lift that chest. Long breath out. From here, tuck those back toes, lift off of the back knee, and make your way back to down dog. Take a couple steps if you need to, no big deal. Take an inhale in, exhale out. Take stock for a moment. How are those core muscles doing? Are we lifting our navel to our spine as our hips reach to the sky? Pressing into those hands, finding our stability. My mat's a little slippery this morning. Hopefully we don't face plant. Take a big inhale in. Exhale, melt the heels. Inhale, lift that left leg high to the sky. Exhale, bring the knee in, crunch the nose to the knee to the nose. Take an inhale and an exhale. Inhale, ripple forward to plank, keeping that knee hugged in. Step that left foot forward. Drop the back knee down. Rise up, low lunge. Just notice what your default is. Do you sink into those hips and really dip into that flexibility here? Hands to the hips. Let's back off just a little bit. Squeeze the inner thighs together and really tuck that tailbone, engage the abdominals to find your core stability here. You might be like, well, I'm not getting as much of a stretch. Well, you can dip back in a little bit, but keep strong through your middle. Reach the arms up. And from here, we're going to tuck the back toes. We're going to stay nice and low and nice and strong and just press straight back with that right heel. So press it up. Beautiful work. Keep those abs engaged. Open twist to the left. Arms out to a T. Press in through both feet. Left hand reaches down the back thigh. Right arm reaches over for a good stretch. Windmill the hands down. Hands to the inside of the left foot. So maybe we heel toe that left foot out. Press in through those palms. Drop the back knee. Untuck the toes. Lift that chest forward. Nice work. Little lizard pose here. And this early in the morning, this might be a lot of flexibility in those hips. So you can elevate up onto those fingertips. And if that's too much and you don't have a book or something to elevate the hands even more nearby, you can come on up. Maybe stay on the tippy tip tips. One hand, other hand can come to the thigh. Just finding a little opening here. Tuck those back toes, press into the hands, and however you can, make your way back to a downward facing dog. Lifting the hips high, heels melting to the earth, and then bend those knees, lower them down. Find your child's pose. The knees can be mat width. Walk those hands forward, press the elbows into the mat, and maybe the hands lift behind the head in prayer position. Finding a little stretch for the triceps here. Couple recentering breaths. Okay, take those hands back down to the mat if they're not there already. And then press those palms into the earth, tuck the toes, lift the hips nice and high, downward facing dog. Inhale here. Exhale, low belly engage. Inhale, keep that engagement. Ripple forward to your plank pose. Exhale, drop the knees down. So a nice little modified plank. And we're gonna move through a little plank series here, which is so great to keep us focused on our core. So from here, we're gonna pivot on that left shin, on that left knee. We're gonna pivot that left shin over to the left and roll open. Right leg reaches out long behind you, finding your side plank. So reach that top arm, that right hand to the sky. Gaze can go to the thumb. The left shin is pointing to the long edge of the mat, and the right leg is reaching out long. From here, you can reach the hand high or reach that bicep over the ear, finding a big side stretch. Take an inhale and an exhale. Come back through that kneeling center position and then rotate on the right shin. Stretch that left leg out long and open up. Look to that top thumb. Really reach up tall. And then reach that arm over the ear if it feels good for the shoulder. Long line of energy from the left foot through the left fingertips. Come on back through center. And then tuck the toes, lift the hips high, downward facing dog. Inhale here. Exhale. Inhale, ripple forward, plank pose. Exhale, drop the knees down. Pivot onto that left shin. Stretch the right leg out long and open up. From here, maybe we hover the right foot. And if this feels good and you want a little bit more stretching this morning, you can bend that right knee back towards your bum and see if you can't reach the right foot with the right hand. Now from here, take your attention back to your core and shift those hips forward. Chest reaches forward. Gaze to the sky. Release that foot if you have it. Come back through your lifted leg position. And then come back through that center kneeling plank position. All right, other side. Shift onto the right shin, and then just set up, press into that bottom hand, open up, look towards that left thumb, and maybe you hover. Use your abdominals here to keep that leg lifted. Maybe you stay here, or you reach around and maybe you find that left foot. Now from here, you might have collapsed, right? Nope, let's push the hips forward, push the chest forward, kick into the hand, gaze up. Beautiful. Release. Just methodically come back down to your kneeling plank, and then tuck the toes, lift the hips high, downward facing dog. Inhale here. Exhale, nice and long. Inhale, ripple forward to your plank position. Exhale, drop the knees down. Shift onto that left shin. Stretch the right leg out long. Reach up to the sky. And just find whatever position here in side plank works best for you. So maybe it's the leg lifted. Maybe you want that quad stretch. Or maybe you want to come off of that bottom knee and full side plank this morning. Lift those obliques. Nice engagement. Come back down. Find your way to plank, kneeling plank. And then rotate on that right shin. Let's find our plank on the other side. You know the options, right? You can stay here. You can lift that top leg. You can grab for that top foot and do a quad stretch, or maybe you press into that back foot and shift the bottom foot to meet it, finding a full side plank here. Press the hips up, engage the obliques. Come on back down, drop the knees to the earth, and now we're gonna lower all the way to our belly. Yes. Give our abdominals a pseudo break here. So we're gonna come up onto our forearms. Elbows are underneath the shoulders, finding a Sphinx pose. So I say it's a pseudo break because this can feel like a nice release for the front of your abdominals, but we don't want to lose our attention on the core here. So we're going to press our forearms into the earth, nice right angles here, palms are pressing, and then we're going to lift our chest through our upper arms. Engagement here in the core as we press our hips down into the mat. Tops of the feet press, chest lifts, gaze is forward. So while we're getting a beautiful back bend here, pretty intense back bend, if it's too intense, you can walk your elbows out a little bit further and just lower down. We don't want to crunch the shoulders by the ears. We want to press down into the mat, but we don't need to come up quite as high. So the focus is still on the abdominals because we're pressing those hips into the mat and lifting the navel as we lift the chest through the arms. Take a big breath in and exhale. So even here, where we're getting a nice stretch through the front of the abdominals, we're still engaging those abdominals, bringing our attention there. Shoulders are away from the ears. They just love to hunch up in this one. Press down. And now from here, walk the elbows out if they're not out already, and then bring the hands in, make a little pillow, a diamond shape for the forehead. Lower that forehead down to the hands, and you can just windshield wiper the feet from side to side. Just a little release for the low back here. Come back to stillness. Bring those hands underneath your shoulders. Press into the hands. Press your way up to a seat. So just sit back on your heels here. Bring the tops of the hands to the thighs. Bring those shoulders up by the ears. And then as they fall away, rest the eyes on the ground or close the eyes. Bring one hand to the low belly, other hand on top, kind of similar to how we started this practice. And similar, let's inhale, feel the belly, press those hands away. Exhale, release, light engagement of the abdominals. But here, let's focus on that relaxation. Inhale, press the belly into the hands. Exhale, release. You can keep breathing with your hands like this, or you can take the hands back down to the thighs. So today we really focused on moving from our core, right? Initiating movement from the center of our body. And in yoga, this can be very pivotal because we are moving from pose to pose. It can sometimes feel a little bit rushed or chaotic, especially our hands and our feet are moving in different directions. And when we return to that strength, that core stability that we all have, then we can find that foundation first. We can start with the breath, which initiates from the center of our body. We can start there, and then we find a little bit more ease and grace as we move on our mat, as our hands go in that direction, or as our feet are moving about. And this is something that translates in life too, through our work day, especially if you have a lot of meetings or you're going from, phone call to phone call, and things can just start to feel out of control and a little chaotic. Take a moment and return to your core, right? And not just physically, actually mentally and emotionally, the core of who it is that you are in this moment and what is your purpose. And this is not the grand vision type of who are you, what is your purpose. This is just right here, right now, what am I bringing to the table? What do I want to be bringing to the table? And if you move from that place, that core, that essence, that foundation, you may find that your days you move with more ease and more grace, more strength, more stability, just like you do on the mat. So that's my challenge to you. Take a couple minutes periodically throughout the day, not even a couple minutes, a couple seconds periodically throughout the day. Take a deep breath, and return to that core. Maybe even take your hands to your belly to remind you, I'm going to come back and find my place of being centered, who I am in this moment. Thank you so much for joining me on the mat. I hope that you have a wonderful day and that we see you here next time.